Sunday greetings, Fordham folks. We are at the end of week 6, concluding our discussion of surrender and the third, and getting very near to the conclusion of this session. And I was struck both by the quality of people's postings and their replies, because there seemed to be a real spaciousness and graciousness to both. And I wonder if that isn't coming with increased comfort with the material and perhaps with one another. In one of your comments, you'd asked if there might be a difference in our religious lives, if the language that the church used would shift from submitting to God's will to opening to God's love. And I think that is such an important question to crack open. Ghent talks about the opposite of love not being hate, but being fear. And for a lot of people, what they fear the most is actual love. There's that line from scripture which is so beautiful about perfect love casting out fear, and that involves a degree of surrender. Now, as Ghent observes, surrender is not subjugation and it is not submission. The feeling quality of submission is resignation, and the feeling quality of surrender is acceptance, which is something very different. In any sort of scheme of subjugation, there's a win-lose kind of dichotomy, right? So there's a dominant or submissive, a masochist or sadist, a victor or a victimizer, and also a victim. And that's really a zero-sum formulation. So moving beyond that, right, that win-lose to a zero-sum thinking opens up potential. It really invites a kind of expansiveness. And this expansiveness can take on a real loving quality. And this love itself basically leads to the fostering of human flourishing and the promotion of the growth principle. So in their book, Religion in the Unconscious, the Ulenovs talk about the role of love. On page 181, love alone provides the necessary space between self and other to allow for growth from dependency to autonomy, neither foreshortening the needs of dependency nor destroying one's sense of autonomy by extending dependency for too long a time. This love takes place between people. And it does take place between people, but it moves beyond the people in relation and invites the presence of the third. It moves beyond the dyad of mother and child, patient and doctor, teacher and student, and really allows a kind of divine inbreaking. And what you'll notice in really all of these readings is that there is a divine relationality to religious revelation, to revealed religion itself, really. And this is a kind of theological formulation. The writer Forrest Church, who I quoted at the very beginning of our course, often would describe God as present in each and greater than all. And I think that's a really intriguing characterization, because wherever there's true encounter between people, there's an allowance, a possibility, and maybe even a likelihood that transformation can occur. Not transaction, but transformation, where both parties are touched and changed. On page 173, the Ulenovs describe this as a healing quality. They write, the more we uncover about the unconscious, the more we recognize how much of a piece are a person's mind, body, and spirit. We see how deeply the healing process is bound up with human interiority and the values locked away in it. whether that process takes the form of religious exercises, talk therapy, or biochemistry. Healing recovers a relationship between dislocated elements. It does not just paste them together, but rather establishes among them a new and conversant relationship capable of indefinite growth. And that indefinite growth, I think, is what feels so very compelling. Another of you in your posts observed quite rightly, I think, that surrender requires actually an exertion, right? It requires this marshaling of loving energy. Whereas what you get with a submission is either a denial or a deflating of the loving energy. In order for us to have a self to transcend, we need to be intact. And surrender is not possible if we are simply forfeiting that business of being selves in relation and being selves who can be transcended. So thinking about how much energy is involved in all of this, right? The energetic quality that surrender has is going to lead us very naturally into our conversation around the body in week 7. And I look forward to what you have to say then. So until then, take care. Bye-bye.